The best laid plans often crash into real life. You map out your career, your family time, your perfectly color-coded calendar, and then chaos. A call shift runs late and your kid spikes a fever and then the sitter cancels. And suddenly everything you were holding together feels like it's unraveling. Well, here's the truth. A roadblock doesn't mean you messed up. It means life is offering you a redirect. But in the moment, it can feel like you only have two options. Power through and burn out, or give up entirely. What if there's a third option? What if the answer isn't pushing harder, but learning to flex? In today's episode, I'm sharing a simple 4-step framework to help you respond to life's curveballs with confidence and clarity and grace. If you're feeling stuck or unsure of what to do next, you're in the right place. Find the full transcript and more resources for physician moms at inspiredmommds.com/54. You're listening to Inspired Mom MDs with host Cindy Van Prague, helping physician moms take back control and prioritize what matters most so they thrive in private practice and at home. Hi there, and thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome back to the Chart Your True North series, where I'm guiding you on a journey towards what matters most. And the starting line was to pick your destination based on your core values, and then to fuel up with self-care, and then to set up road signs, which are boundaries that help streamline your trip. And last week, I talked about the power of reflection to regularly check in whether you're still on your path and following your North Star. Today, I'll talk about what to do when the inevitable roadblocks pop up. And roadblocks are a scary part of the journey, right? But they're not always obvious until they spring out in front of us on front of the road. Some pretty big events happen at the least convenient times. This reminds me of my motto to expect the unexpected. I don't mean welcome them, just be mentally prepared. It's like building up a resilience tool before you need it. And obstacles can hurt too, both physically and mentally. So it's really natural to try to protect ourselves and resist the pain. But the good news is that roadblocks can be a gift in disguise. They're not always a complete block on your pathway, right? They can just be a redirection to do something better or more fulfilling. A physician struggling with burnout may see it as a roadblock because they feel trapped and exhausted. But that challenge could lead them to exploring something different, like, maybe medical leadership or advocacy. Or they may want to take a non-clinical role where they still feel like they're making an impact in life and regain some balance in their personal life. This was my exact response to burnout. I veered into coaching to give back to colleagues and help them unload the burden of exhaustion. And in return, that helped unload my burden of exhaustion. So you can navigate around these roadblocks with flexibility. And flexibility is quite literally the ability to bend and not break, like a bamboo plant. I remember hiking years ago in this small bamboo forest, and I was listening to the sound of the wind through the branches, and they were knocking against each other as they swayed in the wind. And it was so beautiful and so peaceful. And I remember that, and that was 20 years ago. So I got to thinking about the bamboo plant, and it's so resilient, and I often like to use it to describe the resilience of women physicians. They weather the most incredible storms, am I right? And they stay rooted and growing. There is a way to use this flexibility that you already have to your advantage to increase health and vitality. You can adapt in a way that takes you away from harm, whether you meet resistance or you find yourself in a toxic environment. Today I'll use a very realistic but hypothetical character I named Sarah to describe ways to remain flexible while facing these obstacles on her journey towards living a balanced and thriving life and one where she can breathe. There are many tools to use for how to handle challenges, of course, in the pursuit of physical and mental and spiritual well-being. My character, Sarah, uses a combination of them. they're what worked for her. And they all involve the core principles of being able to shift mindset and experiment with different plans. Here we go. So Sarah is a physician mom that feels stuck. She's a full-time doctor. She's a devoted mom of 2 young kids and is getting to be too much. She spent years balancing her time with patient care and family life, and gradually things are starting to feel just off. She's working long shifts. She has endless charting, which is getting worse, and unpredictable work demands, and her energy is drained. At home, she feels like she's missing too many bedtime stories, and she's missing the soccer games and the school plays and seeing her kids get off the bus from school. So Sarah wants to be present for her family without sacrificing her career, though, so she feels stuck. Reducing her workload seems impossible, and every option she's thought of feels like a trade-off, and she's just not ready to make it. So what does she do? So here are some strategies. Strategy 1 is the pause and pivot strategy, and that means to reassess instead of just pushing through something. Physicians are wired to push forward, to keep going even when exhaustion creeps in, and we're trained to be that way. But what if instead of forcing a plan that no longer fits, you pause and reassess? It's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. But when you pause and look around for a round peg, then you can proceed. There are other options out there. Now, Sarah takes a moment to reflect and realizes she's been operating on autopilot. She assumed her only option was to endure her hectic schedule until someday. That someday, not even sure when that day will come. She also realizes the current workload can't wait for that someday. So she asks, 1, do I need to push through? Well, no, because this current workload in my life is unsustainable. Okay, that answer is no. 2, do I need to pivot? Well, yes, Sarah can explore things like reducing her hours or shifting her roles at work or at home. And she can ask, do I need to just pause completely? Well, not entirely, but she might need a short break to reset. Sarah decided to talk to her supervisor about a more flexible schedule instead of feeling forced to an all or nothing option. Now on to the second strategy. Strategy 2. It's called the 3 doors approach, which means finding alternatives or finding different pathways. So when this roadblock appears, like unexpected childcare issues or you have a new job demand, it's easy to see those as a dead end. And so what Sarah can do here is learn to identify 3 possible doors of alternatives. Okay, so here's door 1. Here's an idea. She could adjust the original plan. For example, she could reduce clinical hours a little bit. She could add telemedicine hours. She's always wanted to do that. Maybe that would lead to more flexibility. Okay, door number 2. Well, she may take a creative alternative, like I wonder if she could job share with another physician to split the patient load or split hours. She may, behind door number 3, rethink her priorities altogether. For example, can she just shift roles in her job? Can she transition into an administrative position to make a change from a different level? Now, regardless of which path she takes, it still may not work out, right? So on to the next strategy. Strategy 3 is the what else method. And again, it's shifting from obstacles and roadblocks to solutions and workarounds. Even the best laid plans don't always work, and instead of getting frustrated, Sarah's learning to ask some open-ended questions. And this is my favorite type of question because the possibilities are endless, which is why it's open-ended. Whereas just a yes or no question is a dead end. Okay, so here are some examples of what she's asking herself. What else is possible? What else could work? What else can I try right now? By staying open-minded with these open-minded questions, Sarah considers restructuring home responsibilities. She advocates for more workplace flexibility. She is staying proactive instead of reactive or just operating on autopilot. She's testing the waters of change with reasonable small steps. And this leads to the fourth strategy that I'm talking about today, although there's so many strategies out there. Strategy 4 is the low stakes experiment mindset. It means testing changes before making big commitments. So making big career decisions are overwhelming because they can seem permanent. And did I mention big? It feels like risk, and it seems easier to wake up each day and just keep pushing forward. Whereas maybe it would be easier to change now and save yourself the grief later. So instead of committing to a drastic change, Sarah reframes adjustments in her life as mini experiments. After all, most physicians are scientists at heart, right? I know I am. So she asks herself, what if I try reducing my hours for maybe just a month or 2 months and reassess if that worked? Or what if I switch my morning routine for just a week and see what happens? What if maybe she gets her workout in the morning or does a meditation in the morning or something different and just see what impact that has? What if she outsources one household task, any category, whether it's cooking, cleaning, shopping, just for a couple weeks and see what impact that has? What if is a big open-ended question too, right? And choosing small experiments reduces the pressure of making forever decisions, and it allows her to adapt gradually. So she would no longer be stuck, right? She would be moving forward on a different path with all these mini experiments. So which strategies speak to you? Sarah's journey is one I can relate to. The key to navigating roadblocks isn't about choosing between work and family. It's about reassessing what's possible, giving ourselves permission to evolve. The secret to navigating these obstacles towards what we want in life isn't resistance or operating on autopilot or ignoring it maybe. It's flexibility. It's facing it. So the next time you feel stuck, ask yourself, maybe one of these strategies will work. Do I need to pause, pivot, or push through? Or what doors are available to me? What are some different options that I have? And then ask some open-ended questions like, what else? What else is possible? And when you identify some of those, what are some low-stakes experiments you can try? What are some little things you can try and just test it out and see what happens? Now, you might just find your own path forward. Don't forget to join me next week for another dose of support and inspiration. Until then, take care of yourselves and take care of those who matter most. It's time to take control and thrive. Thank you for tuning in to Inspired Mom MDs. Please share with other physician moms and leave a review if you found value from this podcast.